A man gets home to find his girlfriend staggering towards him. With her last breath, she manages to gasp out a single warning: "Run!" He's immediately confused. This isn't how she normally talks to him. As they embrace, he feels something cold and wet on his hands. Who went and left a knife in you? Before she can answer, a dark figure lunges from the shadows. Crack! A blow like the hammer of Thor slams against his head. As his vision blurs, he sees a group of thugs invading his home, led by a monster named Gajini. The monster calmly taps an iron rod on the floor, the sound echoing like a death knell. With every tap, our hero's heart seizes in his chest, his blood running cold. Gajini raises the rod. Bam! With one last look at the man she loves, she closes her eyes forever. Gajini turns to him, raising the rod as if to say, "Your turn," then smash! The blow slams the screen to black. Miraculously, the man survives, but the attack leaves him with severe head trauma and a rare form of amnesia. He can only hold on to new memories for about 15 minutes. But the one memory that sticks, the one that plays on a loop like a curse, is the moment his girlfriend was killed right in front of him. To make sure he never forgets his quest for revenge, he uses his own body as a canvas, tattooing every clue, every scrap of information about his enemies onto his skin. He pushes his body to superhuman limits, forcing himself through grueling workouts, transforming himself from a mild-mannered man into a hardened beast of vengeance. He carries a Polaroid camera everywhere. Every 15 minutes, he needs a new picture to remind himself of what just happened. Over time, his home becomes completely covered in notes and photos. Every morning, he wakes up a blank slate with no idea who or where he is. Until he looks in the mirror and reads the first clue on his chest: "Take off clothes." As he does, revealing the roadmap of revenge inked across his body, the vengeful soul within him instantly reawakens. One day, he finally tracks down a name from his list. Without a word, he grabs the man by the throat, slams his head against the wall, snaps off the water pipe with a crack, and uses the jagged, shattered end to end him. But with his condition, he forgets to clean up the crime scene. To the police, it looks like a brazen challenge, and a manhunt immediately kicks off. When he snaps out of it, he remembers the man said something important before he died. He returns home and finds a photo, but it's just a name with no face. He breaks down in frustration. Suddenly, bam! A cop bursts through the door and takes him down. While searching the apartment, the officer discovers a diary. Opening the diary reveals a completely different story. It turns out our vengeful beast is actually Sanjay Sindhania, the president of India's largest telecom company. One day, he's out scouting a project in the slums, and he spots the perfect location for a billboard. Right away, he tells his assistant to go negotiate with the owner. So who owns the property? A woman named Kalpana, who's a small-time model at an ad agency. She's beautiful, but her career isn't exactly taking off. Soon after, Sanjay's assistant arrives at Kalpana's company. When her boss sees visitors from the telecom giant, he practically folds in half, ready to please. But when he hears they're there to see Kalpana, he's completely stunned. Still, he politely points the way. The second the assistant is through the door, the whole office erupts in gossip. A corporate behemoth like that, why would they be looking for a nobody like Kalpana? By the time the assistant leaves, the entire office starts treating Kalpana like she's Sanjay's secret girlfriend. And you've gotta admit, Kalpana's bold. As her vanity takes over, she just decides to roll with it and accepts the title. The rumor spreads like wildfire, eventually even making the national news. Kalpana instantly becomes a celebrity. She starts to enjoy the spotlight, even leaning into the lie and adding her own details to the story of how the great Sanjay fell for her. When the real Sanjay hears about this, he's furious and decides to go confront this Kalpana woman himself. But on the way, he sees a young woman's act of kindness, helping disabled students.
When he arrives at Kalpana's office, he realizes it's the very same woman. His anger just melts away, replaced by a deep curiosity. And Kalpana, mistaking him for a reporter, proceeds to tell him to his own face the vivid, completely fabricated tale of her love affair with Sanjay.
As they spend more time together, Sanjay discovers that Kalpana is not only cheerful and vibrant, but also incredibly kind-hearted. You see her helping a blind man cross the street, hilariously pointing out the sights. "Oh, look, sir, there's a group of ladies dancing in the park. And look over there, another group of ladies is gossiping." All the while, the old man is getting more and more annoyed. Sanjay, watching from the sidelines, can't help but be charmed and even joins in. They even dress up as Santa Claus together to give presents to the poor, and little by little, their connection deepens into something real. One day, her boss insists that Kalpana invite her boyfriend Sanjay to the company party. Kalpana panics, terrified her lie's about to be exposed. She gets a friend to pose as the tycoon, but he just doesn't have the look. In a pinch, she throws a suit on the man she only knows as a simple acquaintance. You know what? Put some sunglasses on him and he instantly looks like a boss. But later that night, of course, the real Sanjay Singhania arrives in a luxury car wearing an even finer designer suit, exuding power and charisma. Kalpana's stunned, but mostly terrified that her fake Sanjay will be exposed. But Sanjay himself is loving every minute of it. It's the first time he actually gets to be with Kalpana as his true self. After the party, Kalpana is giddy, thinking she's fooled everyone. But then Sanjay turns to her with sudden seriousness and says, "I love you. I want to be with you." This abrupt confession leaves Kalpana completely flustered. She asks for a day to think and hurries out of the car. Sanjay makes a vow to himself. If she says yes tomorrow, he'll tell her the truth about who he is. If she says no, he'll quietly disappear from her life forever. Just as the cop's about to open the second diary, Sanjay awakens. He breaks his bonds, leaps onto the officer, and with a vicious twist, he takes him down. Just then, a reminder goes off on his phone. Today is the day of his revenge. Following his notes, he arrives at a public speech by his sworn enemy, Gajini. He's shocked to see that this soulless monster is actually posing as a beloved local philanthropist. Sanjay sizes up his target and snap. He takes a Polaroid. Later, he heads to the parking garage and calls Gajini, but the cunning Gajini only sends a henchman. Sanjay grabs the poor sap. Bam! A vicious slam. He ducks a punch and counters with a bone-crushing blow. Sanjay grabs his neck and smashes him against the car until crack. And that's the end of the goon. Sanjay pulls out Gajini's photo to compare. Wait a minute, you're just a security guy, aren't you? Just then, Gajini and his men arrive, guns blazing. Our hero knows when he's outmatched, so it's time to say sayonara. Meanwhile, the doctor treating Sanjay, Sunita, pays him a house call but finds the door unlocked. What she sees inside horrifies her. The entire place is a shrine to revenge. As she's taking it all in, the cop Sanjay knocked out earlier tumbles out of a closet. Sunita unties him just as Sanjay returns. The cop sees him and makes a run for it. Sanjay has no idea who this guy is, but figures anyone running that fast must be a bad guy. Hey, stop! I wouldn't be running if you weren't chasing me. I wouldn't be chasing you if you weren't running. In the midst of the confusion, wham! The cop runs right into a bus and punches his ticket for good. Seeing this, Sunita is now convinced Sanjay's a cold-blooded killer. She even contacts Gajini herself, warning him that one of her patients is unstable and might try to harm him. Back at home, Sanjay looks at Sunita's photo. His notes say friend, so why did she run from him? He decides to find her and demand some answers. When Sanjay shows up, Sunita is terrified, thinking he's there to silence her for good. She immediately calls the police. As Sanjay approaches, she cuts the power, trapping him inside the elevator. Just then, a swarm of police officers arrives and arrests Sanjay. Using his vast network, Gajini learns everything about Sanjay's condition. He doesn't kill Sanjay directly. Instead, he chooses a far crueler method. He has Sanjay strapped to a hospital bed, then, using a tattoo gun, he personally and brutally erases every single clue tattooed on his body. He also burns all the notes and photographs in Sanjay's home. He wants Sanjay to forget everything, even who he is. A living corpse suffers 1,000 times more than a dead one.
Meanwhile, Sunita stumbles upon a 2-year-old newspaper article about Kalpana rescuing a group of girls. Following the lead, she arrives at an orphanage where she finally learns that the true villain behind the whole thing was Gajini. It all clicks. She remembers the notepad she saw at Sanjay's apartment, finds his second diary, and at last she uncovers the entire truth. The day after their big party, Kalpana shyly agrees to be his girlfriend. But just as Sanjay is about to confess his true identity, she suddenly changes her tune. She tells him that if he wants to marry her, he'll need to provide a house and a car. Sanjay completely misunderstands, thinking she's materialistic and that revealing his wealth would somehow corrupt her kind heart. So he decides to keep silent. But he never could have expected what she did next. Kalpana went home, sold all of her own jewelry, and used the money to buy him a small car. Only then does Sanjay realize this sweet girl wasn't a gold digger at all. She was just trying to push him in her own quirky way.
Soon after, Sanjay secretly arranged for Kalpana to win the grand prize in her company's lucky draw, a new apartment. As the two of them stood in their new home, they believed their happy life was just beginning, with no idea that an inescapable nightmare was waiting just around the corner. Sanjay has to go abroad on business for a few days, leaving Kalpana at home alone. While he's away, Kalpana is on a train to an ad shoot when she spots a young girl who is being trafficked. Her bravery takes over and she immediately rescues the child. But the traffickers surround them and they don't just grab the girl back. They have sinister plans for Kalpana too. With nowhere to run, she pulls open the door to the next car only to find it filled with dozens of soldiers. In the next moment, the soldiers jump in and together they save an entire train car of trafficked children. Kalpana becomes a hero in the news, but this only infuriates the head of the crime syndicate, Gajini. But that evening, a kind policewoman calls her. In a hushed, urgent voice, she warns Kalpana, "Don't go home, there's someone there to kill you. They're already inside waiting." A chill runs down Kalpana's spine because she is already at home. Then, the scrape of a shovel on the floor echoes in the silence. The thug casually polishes his dagger, enjoying this cruel game of cat and mouse. Just as he makes his move, the power suddenly cuts out, and Kalpana scrambles to hide in a closet. And at that very moment, Sanjay, just back from his trip, is walking to her door with a bouquet of flowers, ready to surprise her. And that's when the scene from the very beginning of our story unfolds. Sunita realizes the terrible mistake she's made. She returns the diary to Sanjay, helping him piece together the brutal past that was stolen from him. The memories come flooding back, filling him with an unbearable mix of despair and white-hot rage. Gajini, I'm coming for you. Fueled by fury, Sanjay storms Gajini's stronghold. Gajini runs for his life with Sanjay hot on his heels, but in the heat of the chase, it happens again. His memory resets. He has no idea where he is, what he's doing, or who the man he's chasing is. Gajini seizes the opportunity. He lies, claiming he's there to help him. As Sanjay looks around in confusion, Gajini picks up a steel rebar. "Look out!" Sanjay turns, but it's too late. The rebar impales. "I am your enemy." Shoving Sanjay to the ground, he smacks Sunita aside and picks up that familiar iron rod. "Remember this? I used this to beat your girlfriend to death." He starts walking towards Sunita, ready to repeat history. But seeing the iron rod, hearing the taunts, the memories of his girlfriend's final moments flash before his eyes. He rips the rebar from his own body and hurls it, knocking Gajini down. Gajini gets up for one last stand, but Sanjay unleashes a furious combination of punches and kicks. He picks up the iron rod from the ground. Gajini's now trembling with fear. Sanjay raises it high, the memory of his girlfriend's death searing through his mind one last time. Crash! The debt is paid in blood.
In the end, Sunita helps erase all the physical markings of hatred from Sanjay's body and mind. He goes to live with children at an orphanage. Perhaps this is what Kalpana would have wanted. For a burden so heavy, forgetting might be the kindest ending.
The sweeping story of revenge comes from the Indian film Gajini. It shows us that true love can transcend the barriers of time and memory, becoming the one single reason to keep on living. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.